and thank you for joining me in a brand new Pivot webinar. Welcome. Today, we're going to walk through how enterprise teams use Pivot to organize work that spans months, quarters, and regions. If you manage teams, programs, or systems where decisions, updates, and progress needs to stay connected over time, this session is for you. Let's take a look at the agenda first. So the first section is called Enterprise Work Problem and Solution. Then setting up your organization. After that, we'll take a look at spaces as durable units of work. Then governance and pivot, enterprise use cases. Then we'll have a Q&A section and finally some closing remarks. So let's get started. Most enterprise work doesn't happen in short bursts. It unfolds over time across planning cycles, reviews, approvals, incidents, handoffs, and follow ups. Work stretches across weeks or months, often involving multiple teams, regions, and layers of ownership. But the tools most organizations rely on weren't designed for that reality. They're optimized for fragments of work, not the full arc. So meetings happen in one system, decisions live in chat threads, plans sit in documents, and data lives in slides or spreadsheets. Each tool works in isolation. None of them holds the whole picture. And at first, this feels manageable because everyone knows where things are since the work is fresh and the team is small. Over time, though, context starts to leak. A plan is updated, but the discussion that led to it lives somewhere else. When leaders ask for updates, teams recreate answers that already exist, just scattered across tools. So that's not a productivity problem, it's a structural one. Most collaboration platforms treat work as something transient. Messages scrolls away, boards reset, documents multiply. Very few systems are designed to hold work as it evolves. Pivot was built specifically for that kind of environment. Pivot assumes work will last, it assumes ownership will change, and it assumes decision needs to stay revisited. So instead of optimizing for speed or surface level activity, Pivot is designed to preserve context across long arcs of work so plans, discussions, and outcomes remain connected over time. Your organization provides structure that scale. So let's start where enterprise work actually begins the organization. In Pivot, everything lives inside an organization. This is the top level structure where identity, access, and governance are defined once instead of being recreated across tools. At the organization level, admins can establish who belongs to the organization, how people authenticate and are provisioned, what roles exist and what authority they carry, and how access should scale as the organization grows. Once the organization is in place, teams create spaces for real units of work. These typically map how enterprises already operate, so you can have departments, programs, or regions, one per each space. This matters because ownership is clear from the start. Access follows responsibility. Permissions reflect the org chart instead of being managed separately in each tool. Pivot becomes the system that holds structure steady while the work evolves. Teams don't start from scratch every time priorities shifts or a new program launches. The organization provides continuity and admins defines access once at the organization level and they apply consistently as new spaces are created. This is how Pivot replaces tool sprawl with a single governed foundation that can scale across teams, regions, and time. Spaces are durable units of work. So once the organization is set up, the next question is where work actually lives. In Pivot, work lives inside spaces. A space represents a real unit of responsibility. It's not a project folder or not a chat channel. it's a durable workspace designed to hold everything related to a specific initiative. So, a space might represent a department, function, program, region, or an ongoing operational area like incident response. Inside a space, teams don't have to decide where things go across multiple tools. Each space can contain pages for plans and documentation, goals to track initiatives and projects, rooms for conversation, events and calendars tied directly to the work, and work for planning like Infinite Canvas and others for feedback like polls and forms. All of this lives together under the same permissions connected to the same purpose. How work moves without losing context. So this changed how work behaves over time. Instead of starting over every quarter or rebuilding structure for each new project, the space evolves. Goals update, pages change, conversations continue, context accumulates. For enterprise teams, this is critical because work often pauses and restarts. People rotate in and out, ownership shifts. With pivot don't you don't have to rely on memory or tribal knowledge to pick things back up. They return to the space. So visibility becomes clearer, contributors see what they own without extra noise, and leaders see progress without sitting in every meeting. Space create a clear boundary around responsibility while keeping collaboration intact. Next section, connected building blocks inside a space. So once a space is in place, the question becomes how work actually moves without losing context. Pivot is designed so that planning, execution, and discussion happen in the same environment instead of being split across tools. So you have different building blocks inside a space. For example, rooms for conversation, updates, and meetings. So this would be chat, post rooms, audio and video rooms. And these also have recording, transcripts, and follow ups that stay attached to the space. Goals for structure execution. So, goals act as the spine of an initiative. So, tasks, milestones, and cycles live inside the goal, and you have multiple views to support different planning needs. Then you have pages as the living record for plans, briefs, runbooks, and documentation, and comments stay tied to the content that they reference. Then pages can also link directly to goals and rooms instead of living in isolation. And this structure keeps decision, execution, and discussion connected so teams don't need to jump between tools to understand why something exists or how and when it changed. Work remains readable weeks or months later, even for someone joining midstream, so onboarding also becomes faster and easier. Next section, controls your team can trust. So for enterprises, collaboration systems must scale without losing control. So Pivot build is built in with governance as a first class concern and not an afterthought. Administrative capabilities include identity and access management. So this includes ASML, SSO, and SCIM provisioning, organization level roles and groups, and permissions that reflect real responsibility. Next one is governance and oversight, audit logs for key actions, retention controls for regulated environments, and clear separation between spaces. Next section, scalability without fragmentation. So you can add departments, regions, and programs without duplicating the setup, can maintain consistent policies across the organization, and expand gradually without restructuring the platform. So IT teams on Pivot don't have to trade control for usability. Pivot allows governments to coexist with focused autonomous work. So teams get the structure they need, and IT retains the oversight required to support growth, compliance, and operational scalability. A structure that adapts to enterprise work. So, Pivot is not a single purpose tool or app. It is a structure that adapts to different kinds of enterprise work while keeping context intact. Let's see common use cases for enterprise teams. First, planning and rollouts across teams or time and regions. So you can have one space per initiative, portfolio, or region. You can have goals that track strategic objectives over time with different views and timelines. Timelines and calendars that sequence work and decisions and assumptions stay documented with pages and post rooms. Next, incidents and ongoing leadership updates. So, incident threads live in a dedicated space, whether that's through post rooms or chat rooms. Runbooks, fixes, and follow ups stay connected through databases or goals. Leadership updates are posted once and not repeated across 100 different chat rooms, and decisions remain easy to reference later. Last use case is training and internal enablement at scale. So you can have spaces for program or cohort, materials and guidance live in pages. You can upload files or just create a dedicated page to one single topic. You have assignments, polls, and forms to evaluate the people inside your space. Progress is tracked without separate reporting through space analytics, and reviews and office hours happen in rooms, whether that's audio, chat, video, or streaming. Okay, now the Q&A section. First question, how is Pivot different from Slack, Confluence, or Jira? So, Pivot is not focused on a single function. That's what makes it stand out from the rest. It combines communication, documentation, planning, and execution inside the same structure. So, decision, tasks, and context stay connected instead of being spread across tools or systems. Many teams start by using Pivot alongside existing tools for a single initiative or department, and over time, it often becomes the primary workspace as teams consolidate planning, updates, and records in one place. Next question, how does Pivot handle permissions at scale? So, permissions are managed at the